Greetings. Looking forward to talking to you for the next several days. Seems like it's been a long time since I sat down to film one of these. Excited that we decided to kind of do them together. Hopefully there'll be a theme and a little pattern that you can, as we do these, that you are enjoying. So let me ask a question. Do you remember when you sat down and you were discussing with your spouse how you were going to name your child? What were the names you came up with? What did they mean? Who did you think about when you came up with those names? For us, we struggled with girls' names. Boys' names were very easy for us for Kay and I as a couple. When JC was born, we went into the C-section that day. We obviously knew the boy's name. It was going to be John Clarence Elmore III. It was, I think, a prenuptial agreement between my wife and my sister. But for a girl, we didn't have the name decided. We literally talked about it before we went into surgery that day. And because names mean something, we wanted it to mean something. With Hannah, ultimately, we would know that she was a girl. We found out on the second go round. But the first name that came up, we knew if she was a boy, what her name was going to be. It was going to be Calvin Jackson. Calvin honors her dad, and Jackson honors my granddad. Both of them have to be middle names for them. But because you think about certain things when you hear those names, you think about who and what it means. And so I want us to talk about the names of God. We miss much of this in the English translations because we see God, or we don't see Elohim, maybe just Adonai, El Shaddai. We do see Yahweh quite frequently, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Shalom, Jehovah Ro. I'm probably mispronouncing that one. There's several of these, there's many of them that go. But I think what we know and understand about God impacts what we believe, and what we believe impacts how we live. So we see Elohim, God, a powerful God, a God of creation. In the very first verse, in Genesis 1:1, it says, "In the beginning, God, Elohim, created the heavens and the earth." Verse 2 tells us that it is formless. There's nothing there. There's no existence that God created. I don't understand all of that, other than I know that God created. And I don't know how, but I know that everything exists came from Him. That impacts how I understand and how I believe about God. The thing that I am reminded of is in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Elohim is literally plural. And in verse 26, Genesis 1, God says, "Let us, Elohim, make man in our image." I've sat around the coffee table more than once or twice trying to explain. I believe it's the first piece of us understanding the Trinity. It's not made clear there, but I think it's the first tip of it. And so God in His piece made you and I intentional in His image, because the understanding, when you hear that name of Christian, Christ follower, that understanding of an all-powerful God of creation, we are ultimately to reflect His character, to honor His character as a Christ follower, to mirror that type of character. To mirror, ultimately, especially when we get to some of these others, the character of God. You and I can't create, but it can help us formulate who we are. Job struggles with a great deal of things in the book of Job, and he struggles to completely understand who God is. And so here in chapter 42, verses 1 through 6, we'll read from the Message. Job answers God. He said, I am convinced you can do anything and everything. It sounds like Elohim to me. Nothing and no one can upset your plans. You asked, who is it that's muddying the water, ignorantly confusing the issue, second guessing my purposes? That was God who asked that. Job says, I admit it, I was the one. I babbled on about things far beyond me, made small talk about wonders way over my head. You told me to listen and let me do the talking. Let me ask the questions. You get the answers, Job. Job says, I admit I once lived by rumors of you. He said, now I have it all firsthand, from mine own eyes and mine own ears. I'm sorry, Lord. Forgive me. I'll never do it again. I promise. Other places it says he repents. He says, I'll never again live on crust or hearsay or rumors of you. So what does it mean for Elohim, powerful God of creation, for you to understand that today? 3 quick things. First, you need to understand that you were made in his image, that you were made in that spot to look and to reflect and to mirror him. Second thing is that God came to redeem you. He sent Jesus into this world. He took on flesh. Emmanuel, God with us. Another name for God. And lastly, God has a plan. God has a purpose and a design for your life. He had a design as he made the world. He has a design for you and I and our purposes in it. Those things ought to be encouraging to us. Sometimes it seems like we're off track right now. But understanding who God is can help us to find where we are in this crazy world today and ultimately in God's world as we listen to him. May you be encouraged by Elohim, the God of creation, love and might. God bless. Peace.